Welcome to CivilNet. My guest via Skype from Istanbul is Umit Kurt. He is a PhD candidate in Genocide and Holocaust Studies from Clark University. Umit, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me. Thanks.
Yesterday, we translated an article on CivilNet that was published in Agos, talking about what they call the discovery that was made at the Nubarian Library in Paris by yourself and another well-known journalist, Aliev Er.
Yes.
It was purportedly an 11-page document or letter written by the very prominent Armenian writer Zabel Yesayan, which outlined the sexual violence that Armenian women suffered during the First World War, during the genocide. This was picked up by Armenian media in the diaspora and here in Armenia, because of course Zabel Yesayan is a very well-known writer, author, who actually moved to Soviet Armenia and then was later exiled and perished. Tell me, there has been a little bit of controversy here. We've heard people say that this is not a discovery, that in fact the document did exist. Lerna Ekmekcioglu and Vahetashyan had used portions of this letter. So talk to me, if you can, if you will, about the whole sort of discovery, the translation, and what has pursued since then.
Yes, actually I have been receiving criticism about this subject matter for a short while, and which makes me feel actually sad about it, because neither me nor Aliev Er just claimed that or argued that we were the first one who discovered this document actually. And as a matter of fact, I knew that myself. Vahetashyan and Lerna Ekmekcioglu made a specific reference to this crucial report of Zabel Yesayan, which was submitted to Paris Nubarian as an Armenian national delegation in Paris Peace Conference in their respective articles. But the distinctive aspect or the peculiar aspect of our article published in August is that we gave and we translated the full report of Zabel Yesayan, the 11 pages full report of Zabel Yesayan in Turkish. This is what we did vis-a-vis the works of these two prominent scholars as Vahetashyan and Lerna Ekmekcioglu, which I am very close friends and I highly respect to their studies. I didn't discover this document. I have found it in the Nubarian Library. I think there is a huge difference between these two deeds, let's say, because I knew that this document has been, let's say, referenced or pointed out by other scholars, but not as we did, because we tried to translate the whole document, and Aliev Er translated the whole document, and then I wrote the article and I submitted to Robert Koptash by giving almost nearly the full report of Yesayan. This is what we did as a point of departure from other scholars.
Okay, so this was the first time that this document was actually translated into Turkish, and you submitted the entire translation to Agos.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I don't want to detract away from the importance of this document, which I would like to talk to you about a little bit later on, because I think that, sometimes in the wording and in how things are presented, we lose the actual message that's so important, especially now that we are, moving toward the 100th anniversary of the Armenian genocide. This was an important document because oftentimes this is a subject matter that we Armenians don't like to talk about too often. But so to make, to clear the record, you have not said that you discovered a new document, but you came across this document because this isn't really your specialty either. I mean, you study...
Exactly, exactly.
Tell us what
property.
Property confiscation in Aintab, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, exactly. We have talked about it before, in our previous conversation, in CivilNet, thanks to you. Actually, I just want to emphasize and underline one point. Neither me nor Aliev Er claim that we were the first historians or researchers, whatever, who discovered this document. This is not our mistake. this is what I mean. This is not what I want actually. All my concern, all I want was just to, reveal this document, as it was written, as it was written by Zabel Yesayan as a whole, and then in order to just, create a little bit consciousness for Turkish audience. This is what I just aim at.
Yeah, I get it. Okay, so now let's talk about the document, if we may, because it was written in French.
Yes.
Tell me, it wasn't clear to me. Was this a speech that she delivered at the peace conference, or was it a letter she submitted to Boğaz Nubar Pasha, who was a representative of the Ottoman Armenians at the Paris Peace Conference in 1919? So let's start from there.
Yeah, as far as I understood from the document, I think she just came from Yerevan to Paris. From Armenia to Paris, and then she was with Boğaz Nubar Pasha, and she was writing the document. She was writing the document before Boğaz Nubar Pasha. She finished it and she put her signature, and then she submitted to Boğaz Nubar Pasha for his attention in order to submit it to the delegates of Paris Peace Conference, which was for the first time convened in January 1990.
Right, and there were two delegations, right? There was a delegation by Boğaz Nubar Pasha, as we said, representing the Ottoman, and Avedis Aharonyan representing, at the time, the First Republic of Armenia.
Exactly. Exactly.
Do you think that...
Sure. So Zabel Yesayan was not the one who submitted the document, Paris Peace Delegation. She submitted the document, Boğaz Nubar Pasha, in order to submit it to the Paris Peace Delegation himself.
Right. And it's an important document because it did talk about the very taboo subject of what women and young girls, children, were forced to endure during the first genocide. That included rape, that included kidnapping, being sent into harems, being sold. It talks about pregnant women, bleeding to death. These are topics that we oftentimes don't like to talk about, even now, 100 years later. So talk to me about the significance of this document.
As you just introduced, while you were introducing me, you were saying that Umit Kurt as a PhD candidate from genocide and Holocaust studies, and I have taken a number of courses regarding the Holocaust and the other mass killings and mass atrocities, and when I was taking those courses, always I was coming across with all these sexual violence, the collective sexual violations against women as major and the structural components of genocide or the mass killings, like that. But in the case of Armenian genocide, actually, I didn't come across this subject matter that often because, as you said, it's a taboo subject. It's a taboo topic for Armenian community itself as well. According to my point of view, this document is the most clearest evidence of Armenian genocide in 1915, because all the aspects which Yesayan was talking about in her document are structural components, indispensable components of genocide. That's the reason why this document bears and carries the main, let's say, traits and characteristics of genocide definition.
Mm-hmm. How has it been received once it was translated and published in Turkish? What have been the reactions?
Actually, reaction was quite positive. Of course, in terms of coming to term, reckoning with that, and then coming to term with the past, and the people, of course, coming from more liberal and leftist and liberal leftists and the leftist, milieu, they receive it quite positively. They distributed and diffused these news in their, social media accounts in order to create consciousness for their friends, for their, family members, or for their own environment as well.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, Umit, thank you very much, first of all, for clarifying this misunderstanding or misrepresentation of the important work that you and Aliev Er have undertaken to translate, because I'm sure there are many documents. You as a historian, a scholar of genocide studies and Holocaust studies, understand the importance of translating these eyewitness accounts, these documents into the languages and where it's needed to be heard and read.
I just want to say one point about this matter. I don't want to just adjourn this chapter of conversation, actually, because look, I'm a very young student. I'm not a historian with holding PhD even, you know, and I don't see myself as a full-fledged historian yet, and I'm trying to be at least, you know. And when I saw this document, I approach from the just instinct of an historian, you know. I didn't publish this crucial document in order to get fame, in order to become well known for, you know, by other people and etc. I didn't have that kind of concern. I just only aim at, you know, opening, creating consciousness and showing this crucial aspect of Armenian genocide, which has been ignored as yet.
Umit, I think that the passion that you have about wanting to bring this document to a wider audience and the Armenian world's reaction is not necessarily a negative thing, because it's something that I think that was very important perhaps for the Armenian media, the Armenian nation, Armenia itself, to become familiarized with this document, which you have succeeded in doing, really, because before now, nobody talked about this document in the capacity that we have been now. So I think that what may be perceived as a negative thing actually turned out to be a pretty positive thing, because now we are all aware of Zabel Yesayan's letter to Boğaz Nubar Pasha in 1919.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, okay. This is what I hope, actually.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Okay, so I'd like to thank you for joining us via Skype from Istanbul to talk about this. We look forward to reading and following what you continue to publish ahead of the 100th anniversary of the Armenian genocide, which is something that we will probably be talking to you about in the coming months. So thank you for joining us, Umit.
Thank you so much for having me and, you know, providing me an opportunity to express myself. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I'd like to remind our viewers that my guest via Skype from Istanbul was Umit Kurt. He is a PhD candidate on genocide and Holocaust studies from Clark University. Keep watching CivilNet.